today I decided to do something a little bit different. So it's a mission called Backtrack, or a scenario called Backtrack, and look at that. It's a monster. It's a GP40, or it's a GP38. I think it might be the GP40. There's not any difference between them apart from power, and one of them's downloadable content or extra content that you get when you get that little bit extra. You know, if you look at the prices of the packs, or sorry, it's in the base game. It's not an additional purchase like one of the other packs, you know, like the Transpennine pack or anything like that. This actually comes with the game, and I think this engine actually comes with the game. I don't think this is the extra one. There is an extra one. If you look, you'll see. I can't remember what it's called, but you know what these companies are like. They always do Premier packs and Elite this and Gold that, just to try and squeeze a bit of extra wedge out here, isn't it? It's massive. It's absolutely massive, and it's quite complicated. I don't think I really got to grips with using it. I've got it going quite quickly, but I couldn't make it maintain its speed, and it'd go over speed, and then if you come off the throttle, it started to brake too fast. But I think there's three different sorts of braking on this. And one of them's like electromotive. I think that's what it's called. And what that seems to do, if you look at your amps rather, sometimes to go minus. So instead of it's basically like putting power back into the system if it goes minus, isn't it? I should imagine. So it'd be like a generator, which I guess is what happens when you run electric motors. You can make them generate power, can't you? If I remember my physics classes alright, an electric motor and a generator are pretty similar, aren't they? If not exactly the same. Well, I might be remembering that wrong. I think it's like, you know, if you switch your electric kettle on, I think you actually drive the generator at the power station, don't you? Because it has to output more electricity, and it's getting too complicated. I can't remember. That's a long time ago since I was at school. This train, it's massive. It's absolutely massive. And by the time this scenario sort of gets started, there's a lot of running about in this and track switching and things like that. But I didn't realise while I were doing it, what you're actually doing is you're assembling an extremely big train. And by big I mean big. I think it's the biggest train I've ever seen, and I'm assuming this is realistic, you know, it being a simulation. I didn't know trains got this big. It just looks absolutely huge when it's all connected up. I mean, the engine, this is 2 engines, and they're massive, absolutely massive, and they're very, very powerful. Even when you've got all the carriages on the train really just seems to go like it's not getting anything attached to it. It's amazing. That's what I like about Americans. It's when they're doing something, they just get on and do it. They don't go like they do in this country. We can't really afford that. We're British, aren't we? Americans just go, we want it to actually work, so let's just throw some money at it until it works. That's not very British, is it? Everyone will just start using it. Couldn't have that. That's the policy in this country, isn't it? With in UK, that is, with roads. We don't want to build any more roads. People just use them. Yes, that's the idea. Never mind. We'll sell the rest of our infrastructure off to Europe, I guess, like we did with the gas and electric. Ooh, political. Anyway, back to the game. It's sending me off down here, and I can't quite remember why. I've got to switch tracks to get to that train. That's it, yeah. See, I'm kind of winging it as I go. It's just giving you sort of waypoints to go to. So then you have to make your best guess about what to do. So it is telling you what to do, kind of. Yes, automatic brake. That one seemed to be best. I don't know what the other brakes do, to be honest with you. I never did the tutorial on this train, and then it's telling you set track switches, so it's giving you a clue what you got to do. Some of it, there's a lot of running about. I think by the end of this scenario, according to the game, I think I'd run 1.8 miles. Probably most of that's across this. There's like a walkway here. When you come out of the train, it's quite a long walk. Look at that. And then down, you're up and down steps. Get a proper workout. Who needs to go to the gym? These switches look different to the ones in UK. Yeah, it's quite clever. Changes colour, doesn't it? Just by virtue of it being painted. Yes. I'm not really gonna whine about graphics. I whine every time about graphics and how blurry they look, and I understand it. On what the weird thing is on the it's Xbox One, by the way. The weird thing is on the captures that I get off the Xbox, I've got it set to capture in 1080p, and for some reason, when I look at the captures on the computer or when I've uploaded them to YouTube, it actually looks much better than it does when I'm playing it. And I've actually tried setting the Xbox that I've got the Xbox One X, so it's 4K. I've told you before, if you've been listening, I've got a 40-inch Samsung TV, which is like last year's model, like May last year, so it's about as new as you can get. So, you know, basically I don't think you're going to get much of a better image quality, and it's all set up properly, and it just always looks a little bit blurry. Well, I say a little bit, quite a lot blurry while I'm actually playing it, and I'm playing it in 4K. According to the TV, I'm playing it in 4K anyway, you know, because there's a little thing you can tell, you know, you press one of your remotes and it tells you what you're in. It's like 3,000 plus pixels plus 2,180 or something like that pixels, and it says UHD and all that stuff. So the monitors, the TV's working and the Xbox is working, and when you're playing the game, it's just weird. It just looks blurry, and then when you keep still for a minute, things sort of come into focus, and I don't get it. But anyway, my point is, when I look at the captures on the computer, and on when they've been uploaded to YouTube, for some reason they look much better than when I'm playing it, and I can't explain that. You would think it'd be the other way around. There should be some, if you're going down to 1080, it should be worse. I know if you're using a camera and you can just get I don't know, there's something slightly better about it. If you've recorded on, like I've got a couple of Panasonic cameras, if I record at 4K and then I edit them in my editing software that I'm doing this scenario review thing, not a review, sort of, I don't know, playthrough, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, if you go from 4K down to 1080p, for some reason, and I can't quite explain why, it just looks a little bit better, but not better enough to bother with 4K, because 4K takes a hell of a lot more memory and it puts a hell of a strain on this. I've got quite a mediocre laptop, and I'm surprised that I can do what I've done on it. If you look on my channel, I've made some films, you know, proper films, not like computer films. Well, look, I nearly hit this train here. I didn't see it till last second, and luckily this engine's got fantastic brakes, because it's not light, is it? It's a huge train. Yeah, anyway, I've made some films on that, and if I'd have done them in 4K, I'd never have been able to edit them. The computer's not powerful enough, because 4K is like it's not just a little bit different, it's a hell of a lot different. And funny thing is, if you watch stuff in 4K, it actually does look better. You know, if you've got a 4K, but you do need a 4K display, but it's very marginal. And the weird thing is, I've got these Panasonic cameras, the very strange thing about them is they've got very good viewfinders on them, electronic viewfinders. I'm not on about the screen at the back. The screen at the back's good. You got a flip out screen on both my cameras. It's got a G7 and a FZ2000, both Panasonic, both capable of 4K. But they've both got electronic viewfinders on it, and the very, very strange. Oh, let's see the fluorescent strips inside the train. Then didn't notice them. The very strange thing is that when I look through the actual electronic viewfinders, the world actually looks better, and that shouldn't be possible, but it's true. The world actually looks better and higher detailed than it does with just my eyes. I'm not about zooming in, I'm just about the general image quality, which is bizarre. That shouldn't really happen. There's something wrong there. You shouldn't be able to get a device that makes the world look better. You know, because your eyes should give you maximum resolution, shouldn't they? I mean, unless you can see better than... No, you can't see better than reality. What am I talking about? No, you can't. It shouldn't happen. That simple. Because they're on about 8. I'm not talking about the train very much, am I? Mind you, I'm pretty sure you can tell what's going on. Because most people that are watching this probably know more about these trains than I do. I know very little about this. Other than it's extremely big, extremely powerful, and I'd love to see one in real life because it just looks awesome. The headlights seem to go on and off as well for some reason. I couldn't quite work out why. It might be something to do with how I've got the reverser set or something like that. You can see I've got a bit more used to using it, but I tend to use a controller a lot more now rather than going on to the buttons. Sorry, the levers, you know, using like mouse controls you would on a PC. I think in some ways it's because you've got best of both worlds with this. You can use it like a mouse because there is 2 settings you can use this controller on by sort of putting the, you know, the top switches on the thumbsticks. One of them goes down. It makes the little cursor move around. So I'm moving another track here. You see how much running about there is in this? There's a hell of a lot in there. But I guess that's what this area is all about, isn't it? Got my bum back down on the seat. Yeah, I was talking about done about 8K displays. I don't think you can see that good. I just don't think that's going to make any difference. I reckon 4K is your limit. They keep on trying though. I remember when they were my sort of 3D and that came out with the 3D glasses. And my son bought a big Samsung TV with the 3D glasses and that lot. Really nice bit of kit, nice bit of television, but the money he paid for it was unreal. I could have bought a car for that. Quite a good car as well. Yes. Every now and then, you're so close on these tracks to the things that you're going past. It's a little bit disconcerting sometimes, isn't it? I guess there's no way that you're going to hit them. Look at the length of this. I think this is the thing that I'm connecting up to. In fact, I'm sure it is. All these carriages that we've just gone past. I think they call them cars, don't they? Oh, there's 2 of them. Oh, there's 2 different ones. Oh, I don't know if I connect to both of them. I might do that. I don't know. I can't remember. I just know that this train ends up being extremely long. Anyway, it's telling me where to stop again. And I've sort of got the hang of it a bit more. I never fathomed out why when they were coming off at... You know, usually you can make these things coast just by coming off the throttle. As soon as I came off at throttle, the train started slowing down, so... Maybe there was some break on that I didn't understand, but I will probably have another go on this, just to see. Because I like to find out how stuff works. It's the geek in me. I did used to be an engineer when I left school, a long time ago. Mechanical engineer, that is, not like a civil one. So I used like all the machines, like centre lathe turners and milling machines and what used to call copy lathes in then, and then they were just bringing out computerised CNC stuff. I hated it, working in a factory. I liked playing with all the welding gear though, you know, all the burny, fiery stuff and sparky stuff. Yeah, that were good. Man, you get bored of anything after a while, especially if you couldn't stand being in a blooming factory all day. It was awful, soul destroying. You know, when you were at school and an afternoon seems to last forever. Well, if you're working in indoors in the factory, that's what every day feels like, all day, every day. It's like double maths and then double French, all in one. Yes. See, the lighting just changed then, didn't it? I don't know if you noticed that, and I can't work out why. Yeah, there's a bit of a problem with the lighting on this game. There might be a bit where you can see later. I noticed it while I was playing it. Is that the headlights just seem to shine through everything. You see, there's a lot of lights shining in the way that I'm looking. You can see them casting shadows all over the place. You can see them on them tankers at side there. But when you're running down the side of the train, it's almost like the lights penetrating the cars. It's a bit strange. Now I'm coupling up to something here, aren't I? See, I've never done this before. These cars couple up automatically. All you got to do is reverse into them, and somehow all the hoses connect as well. You know, the airlines and stuff like that. I'm not sure if they would actually do that. You know, in reality, I don't know if you'd have to get out and couple them manually, or if just running into them's good enough. It's just a couple of exits out of here. Yeah. I don't know if I just coupled up to something or not, or if I just got it wrong. I can't work out what I did there. I actually wasn't paying attention. You probably, if you've been watching this, you're probably paying more attention to it than I was. I was too busy reminiscing about blooming engineering, which I hated. Listen to that engine. It's a bit convoluted, isn't it? I wonder if I did something wrong. I'm not sure if I went to the wrong place then. Because I remember I'm going to go along it. Oh no, I must have. Yeah, I'm sure I've attached to something, because I go along here and then I stop and I realise that I ain't gone far enough, you know, because the whatever cars are attached. I think that's this bit. Oh yeah, I'm braking now. Because that's confidence, isn't it? Getting out my seat while it's still moving. It won't let you jump down though. I've tried it before. Yeah, with the big long load of big long load of cars behind you, it's difficult if you got to switch. Look how long this is. This is the bit that I've just attached to. And there's the switch. So I need to go further on that way, don't I? But it's very difficult to tell how far it is you've got to go. So you've always got to be aware in this game of the signals, you see. For some reason I've gone to the wrong end here. I've no idea why. I've actually gone to the wrong end. Or wrong engine rather. Yeah, that's it, that's the one I want to be in. And you can't get to it this way, can you? should have made a map, shouldn't I? Like you used to do in them old adventure games. Remember the text ones, where it's you come to an entrance. It was, do you want to go north, south, east, or west? From the west, you hear the sound of something sinister, that kind of thing. So you draw yourself a little map, and they never worked, did they? You could never find your way around. What was it? South, south, west, east, south, or was it east, south, south, west, south? Can't remember. Anyway, you'd end up hopelessly lost, wouldn't you? Infocom. That's who made them. I never finished one of them. What were it called? It one that had Floyd in it. Oh, I can't remember what it were called. One of them were called Deadline. That were like a detective one. It's all the text description and all that kind of thing. It had something called Low Blow in it, and I didn't know what the hell it was. I think it's some sort of drug. Like I think we'd call paracetamol. So it totally confused me. Look at the length of this. There, that's what I'm on about. The headlights are all shining. If you can see, they're shining all the way down here. You know, like through the carriages. Anyway, I'm running. I guess it does look like America, doesn't it? I mean, you'll know that if you're American, you'll go, that does look like America. I've been to America, well, Florida. Now I'm trying to work out. You see that now the tracks move. It doesn't take too much working out. You don't need to be a rocket surgeon. Or is it a brain scientist? One of the two. You don't have to be either one of them. Watch here. You see if you can see the headlights on, especially when you get to these sort of creamy coloured cars. You see now, look, it's showing you the headlights. You can see them headlights are penetrating where they shouldn't be, aren't they? You can see the shadows quite clearly. Sorry, the beams quite clearly. So the cars aren't blocking the headlight beams out. They're illuminating everything regardless of what's in front of them. So they're not really working how headlights should. But again, like I've said before, we take all this sort of thing for granted, and I'm sure it's a lot more complicated to do than we think. It's like on you know, criticising how someone plays a game, innit? You know, like professional sportsmen. You sit there and you should have scored that one. He should have had that one. Mind you, if they're professional, you're going to think that, aren't you? It's like these snooker players and darts players as well. That's all they do. That's not a sport, by the way. It's a pastime. They're not athletes, are they? I've trained my athlete very well. 7 pints of Tetley bitter every night. And some lager as well. Actually, no, it won't be that anymore, will it? Everyone drinks Budweiser and things like that, don't they? It gives you a beer gut, just same as Tetley bitter. Which I actually never liked that when I was a kid. I was always a lager drinker. I don't drink now. Actually, I was a lager drinker, and pretty much anything else you could get that wasn't bitter, including bottles of martini, cans of special brew, Southern Comfort, anything they could basically get down my neck. Yes, in quantities, but it's pretty bad for you. It's a long time since I've had to drink. It actually made me incapable of drinking anymore, but I did used to enjoy it. Yeah, you can see the headlights now quite clearly, and they're still shining down here, and they shouldn't be, and they're casting shadows along these. See them along these sort of cream coloured, I don't know what they are, like look like bulk, some sort of bulk material cars, don't they? You know, like gravel or something like that. I don't know. That's kind of what they look like. Yeah, they look like they could let things out of bottom, don't they? Yeah, maybe powder or granular stuff or concrete or something. I don't know. Man, you won't have concrete in them, would you? It'd go off. That is one hell of a long train. No, that's what we're saying. By the end of this scenario, it tells you what you've done in mileage. I don't know what the train was, but it was I'm sure it was 1.8 miles. Look at the headlights now. You see the shine on the side of these. There's no way they should be picking any light up at all from the trains. You can see it. I mean, the actual lighting's very good. It just shouldn't be there. so full marks in one way, but minus 100% in another one for it shouldn't be there. There's a hell of a lot. There's a lot of running about here, isn't there? 27 minutes into it, and there's your map. You can zoom right in on that map as well. I don't use it very much because it's not really that helpful. Maybe it'd be more helpful if you didn't know where you were going, but I don't know where I'm going, but the game does sort of tell you, doesn't it? Sometimes it says go this way via that, and then it doesn't really give you the option to do it, because I'm looking at that where two tracks go together then thinking, do I have to do anything there? And by the look of it, I'm probably not going to have to, you know, the way it meets. If you're going the other way, you know, because it's going Y-shaped, so if you've got like a Y-shaped track, if you're going one way, it won't be possible to really do anything without going all the way past it, stopping, and then going backwards. But if you're going then the other way, like in that, you know, when we're looking at, if you were kind of going south, you would have to stop to check it, which way the track we're going to go. But luckily this game doesn't really do that much. No, it's almost always fairly clear. I say almost always fairly clear. That make any sense, does it, you idiot? Almost always fairly clear. It's not. That doesn't make any sense. I'm just messing with brakes here, and I've just confused myself. Yeah, because I've only just I'm realising that there's more brakes on it. So I don't know if I've applied that sometime. That could have been the problem earlier on, is that brake was on. But like I said, I will probably test this train. If you've ever watched any of the other ones of these that I do, where I just drone on for the best part of an hour or an hour plus, somehow, don't know how I managed to talk so much. Apart from that, I'm obviously a really big blabbermouth, and I've never realised it, because I'm blabbermouthing now. I mentioned about, I didn't really know how the brakes work. This is on one of the British trains, and anyway, I said, oh, I'll do a test on it. I'll try doing a test on it one day. And then I went, no what? You know, I thought to myself, no what? But obviously, you know, me being me, well, you won't know me, but once I get an idea like that in my head, I can't just leave it. So obviously, I went and did a brake test, didn't I? And I don't know which is gonna go up first, this or that one, because sometimes I don't make these videos and always put them out on the day that I've made them. Sometimes I'll have them sitting on computer for a while, or sitting on YouTube private, you know, and then just make them public. Could clearly see the spotlights then, couldn't you, on that carriage as the train went past, and the three great big spotlights, a bit like that Predator aiming thing. Look at the length of this train. I like the sound. Just look at that. Some nice shadowing as well, and some nice lighting effects. They make it, don't they? They make any game, them. It just doesn't look that good when you're playing it. But I don't suppose it matters really. If you buy this game, it depends. If you're just gonna take a chance on it, then whether you're thinking, "Mum, I'm gonna like this or not," which I did, but I got it on offer over Christmas period. I think you Americans call it holiday period for some reason, but we call it Christmas anyway. Xbox Store, you know, on Xbox Live, they did there's a lot of stuff on sale, and I got this. I think it would. I think the base game were £20. You see, I don't like this. I do not like it when they do this with games. And then there was like an extra one you could get. I can't remember what version it is, but it had an extra train like this, and it's got a slightly different livery and a bit more power. I say a bit more power, a lot more power. I mean, if this isn't the downloadable, the extra one, this is stupidly powerful. This train, it's going. I mean, you've seen what it's pulling. It's just taking it in its stride. Because I think they've got the physics pretty well sorted out in this, in some ways. Because on some other scenarios I've done, I've actually stalled the trains, and you can get wheel spin and all sorts of stuff, you know, with excess power when you're putting it on. But one of the trains I could you could actually stall it, and it cut the engine out, and then you could hear all the fans and stuff going, trying to purge all the heat out of it. Yeah, you went, you know, you sort of went, the amps are the thing that tells you how much strain you're putting in your engine. And when you did that on one of the, I can't remember which train it was. It was one out of the West Somerset pack, I think. I can't remember. But yeah, you could stall it, and it was quite a shock. You know, because you think it's going to be a little bit simplified. Well, it is a little bit simplified, isn't it, this? I couldn't drive a train. Maybe I could. It's got to be simple, and it? Train drivers can do it. Boom. That's a bit like if you're in a band, you know, a drummer joke. The gardeners not being musicians out there, a bit Neanderthal, you know, because they hit stuff. Yeah, I don't like the way they've marketed this game. And I don't like the way that gaming's going in general, because they seem to be using this free-to-play model for stuff that costs, I don't know, well, £50 in this country and probably like $60, $70 in America. And it's wrong. You know, they've been doing that now with Forza for quite a long, Forza Motorsport, for quite a time now, and they're just putting them out all the time, aren't they? And they put these car packs down. I've paid, listen, Turn 10 and Microsoft, I've paid you like £60 for that game. Give me the game. I mean, they did that. I've done a little sort of review on Forza 7, I think it was, about a year to 18 months ago. You can look at it if you want, and I pretty much give it a good slagging off, because they're just taking the mickey. When the game came out, it was like there was this mode and that mode and another mode, auction house. None of it were working. So don't put your game out if it ain't working. You know, it's not like they ain't got servers, and it ain't like they ain't done this before. They've all done it before. It's like when I remember the Call of Duty cycle. Well, it's still going on. I don't know. Remember it? It's still going on to this day. Isn't it? The Call of Duty Battlefield cycle. But when it first started, quite a long time ago now, they would have a game, and then they basically, especially Call of Duty, they basically reskinned it and maybe put a zombie mode in it, and put it out next year. And then when everyone bought it, you know, in October or November before Christmas, it just never worked properly, did it? Especially online. And you were always waiting in games, getting kicked out of lobbies, and there were all kinds of multiplayer problems. And they turned around and said, "Oh, we weren't expecting that many people want to play it online." What a bunch of liars. Of course they were expected. That's what you got that game for. To play it online. You didn't buy it for single player, because it's crap. And it's always been crap. Stupid rushing forward and getting shot all the time. Oh yeah, how realistic's that? How many? Medic! I've had 10 bullets fired in me. Now I need some help because I'm dying. Because 10 bullets hit me. One's enough. Operation Flashpoint on PC from about year 2000. That was a scary game, that, because if you got shot in the legs, you were crawling for the rest of the scenario. I once in that game, because I used to be a PC player, I got shot in the legs from. I mean, you were aiming at pixels in distance as well with the M16, You know, he was always against the Russians. And I got shot in the leg. All my platoon got wiped out, and you had a day and night cycle on it, on this game. You were a soldier, obviously, but I'd lost all my platoon, and I was by myself now, and I ended up crawling. I had to crawl on my belly. This is in first person as well, not third person. Crawl on my belly, and it got darker and darker, and you could hear APCs like BMP2s and T80s or T72s, you know, the main battle tanks. They were moving around the area with the lights on. You could hear them. You could hear Russian soldiers talking, and you're thinking, oh crap. You were actually scared, and when it got dark, it was black, black. You could see enough, and I crawled until it started getting light, and I just didn't really know where I was going. I was hoping I'd get back to friendly lines and find some sort of medic unit. And you wouldn't believe you get this in the game, would you? You wouldn't be allowed to do this in the game now. But I crawled on my hands and knees, and stupidly I'd saved it, and that was a kiss of death, because there were no going back after that. You know, I'd saved it to a place where I was on my hands and knees crawling, or on my belly crawling. That looks quite good, doesn't it? And it started getting light, and this seemed incredibly realistic to me at the time. I think if you looked at Operation Flashpoint, the original one on PC, now you're thinking, that looks crap. But it looked extremely realistic, and it got to sort of like morning light, and it did look like morning at the time. And I could see people moving about in this town. I thought, I'm going to have to go there, because it should be friendly. Anyway, I spent another half an hour crawling towards it, and it turned out they were all Russians, except now it was getting lighter and lighter, and it wasn't just Russians, it were them Spetsnaz, like special forces. So I saved me game, but I saved myself into one of them places that were just now getting out of it, and then I spent another 2 hours trying to escape and got killed every single time, because I was on my belly. You could steal vehicles, so I had an idea about maybe stealing an APC or something, or a Jeep, or I can't remember what the Russian version of that is. But they have these like Jeep things, Graz or something, is it? I can't remember. But it was just a great atmosphere, and actually scary. I wish they made games like that now. That was one worth playing, you know. This train track going right over, that looks a bit like I'm not really sure what area we're in here. Presumably it's New York, but for some reason it looks like Grand Theft Auto to me. Mind you, that'd be Liberty City, wouldn't it? Liberty City. And San Andreas was supposed to be Los Angeles, I think. But the graphics are about as good as San Andreas, if you look at them. Actually, they're not. If you actually look back at San Andreas, the graphics are pretty primitive by today's standards. Yeah, that were a nice little moment there, but I talked over it. Coming up to a bridge here. Yeah, you could hear the train going into the background, but some big blabbermouth are talking over it. I'd like a proper photo mode in this, you know, get rid of all this heads-up display, making these blooming videos a lot better, and maybe some video effects on my braking test. I love the sound of them. They're better than British ones, aren't they? That sounds like a proper train, doesn't it? We have these stupid things in our country. They sound awful. See the lights flashing. Oh, I didn't notice that before. See, that look like the headlights flashing. Yeah, they're alternating, aren't they? Oh, I wonder why they're doing that. I wonder if I've pressed something in the cab or something. But again, you can see the nice lighting again in it, reflections, and the you can see the shadows of each individual car that's coming towards us. See, I've been over speed, haven't I, as well? I keep going back to this game, and every time I complain about it, I can't remember if I've said I've tried setting my Xbox to 1080p, and it don't make any difference, because I think I went off track about it. I was talking earlier about it and I never finished, I don't think, and I can't remember if I did or not. But if I didn't finish, or even if I did, just to make sure that you know, I set the Xbox back to 1080p and tried the game, and it still looked same as it did in 4K. I actually can't tell the difference. I cannot tell the difference. I can tell the difference on the dashboard, and I can tell the difference on like World of Tanks and other games, but on this game you can't tell the difference between 4K and 1080p. So I suspect it's not properly 4K, is it? When I do stills, when you capture stills off of Xbox, that does do them in 4K. But some of the games like Red Dead Redemption, I think Forza as well, when you look at them on the Xbox, they look fine. But when you transfer, because I put all my stuff on memory stick from the Xbox, quite a big memory stick, and you got to format it a special way to make it work. Anyway, when you look at these 4K, what is it, UHD, high dynamic range, HDR rather, high dynamic range. That some of the high dynamic range is a different file. So you have each screen capture, when you look at it on PC, has two different files. One of them is the PNG file as you normally get, but it doesn't look right. It looks like there's something missing from it. And then there's another one like an HSX or something like that file. So each time you do one, it keeps two of these files on your memory stick. But when you look at them on the Xbox, just with your, how you would normally look at captures on your Xbox or stills, whatever, it looks great. But when you put the memory stick in your PC and look at them or transfer them to your PC, it don't look great because it's actually two files, and one of them seems to have the high dynamic range information on it, which is all the extra lighting and stuff like that gives it a bit more sort of realism. But I think for me, we're as good as it gets, graphics wise. 4K, I don't think you're going to be able to see any better than 4K. That's what I'm saying about them cameras. They do the impossible. They actually make the world look better even though that really should be impossible, especially in real time. That's because we live in the simulation, probably. Set track switches. Yeah, there's a lot of messing about now. I think this is pretty much near end scenario here, and I've got to go down a particular track. I've got to go down track 3, and it just takes a bit of fathoming out. And this is why I ended up running 1.8 miles in it at the end of this scenario, because I'm just running, getting my feet on gravel. Yes, I've just realised I've got this pop filter too close to the microphone. It doesn't work, does it, if you get it too close? Anyway, I've learned now. And I got this microphone. I got it for Christmas. My wife bought it for me. It's a Yeti. It's a really good mic. It's quite big as well. And I got a pop filter. It stops it from doing like that. If you're blowing a microphone, it makes a popping noise. So I've had the pop filter too close. Pop filter's a bit like it's a mesh, and I think it just basically slows the air down a bit. It creates a shield, but lets the sound vibration through, which is in the air, isn't it, obviously, and it just stops you blowing on it. But I'd got it too close, and if you've got it too close, it just the air still goes through it. Because if the air didn't go through it, it'd be like you wouldn't be able to hear me as well. You might think that's a good thing. I think it'd be a tragedy from what this microphone cost if you couldn't hear me properly. It'd be pointless. I used to use the microphone that I attached to my cameras. It's a shotgun mic, that's very directional. This one's got loads of different settings, and I won't bore you with details. But you can even have it like stereo if you want. It's really good. And there we are with the brakes. There was a time I started using that electromotive brake. I think it's electromotive brake it's called, and it was adding like amps back into the engine. See, I'm messing with brakes here. You can see it all. I'm using controller. Yeah, I will give this a test. Look how fast it picks up speed. It's got a lot of weight. They're absolute monsters, these machines. I don't know how long this train is, but it's very long. You see, it was too far really. I didn't want to go running all the way down there and tracing all tracks, so I think I do it wrong. I'm sure I do it wrong from first go. Unless I've been blabbing that much this in first go. So I'm doing 20 miles an hour here, so I've let it run away a little bit. You can't really see immediately in front of you. Oh, I must have done it right. Yeah. I got out of seat then because I keep pressing the Y button, you know, and it's the wrong button obviously. Yeah, I got carried away there, didn't I? Oh yeah, I have done it wrong. Look, there's a train right on the track in front of me there. I think I've done it wrong. Yeah, I want to be on that track, don't I? And I'm on the wrong track. It wants me to go on track 3. Unless I missed something. There was nothing saying track 3, but I might just have missed it, you know, when I was playing it as well. Yeah. Dynamic brake, independent brake, automatic brake. So that's 3 different brakes, isn't it, at least? I think most of the time I was using the automatic brake, and I don't really know what that is. The dynamic brake is the one that puts the amps back into the engine. There must be a brake on because I'm revving the hell out of that and it ain't moving. There's got to be a brake on. Dynamic brakes off, independent brakes off. Now it's moving. I wonder if it would just... Is there an incline there? Yeah, I might be going uphill there if I'm going backwards. I'm not sure. You see, I can't see. I've mentioned this before, but if you've ever watched any of these before, you might have heard me. That head-up display that's got the speedometer, the tachometer, the amps, the top, like at 10 o'clock on the outside there. That's the gradient. And then opposite it at like 4 or 5 o'clock, that's your brake pressures and stuff like that. And then you've got your amps. That's obvious, it says amps. Then you've got the power in the middle there, it's just gone to 0. And then next to that on the left you've got the reverser status. And then can't remember what that other one is. In fact, there's a couple of them I don't even know what they are. Ooh, look at that graffiti. Very urban. Very, very urban. The people in this country are desperate to do stuff like that because some of the artists are good, aren't they? Graffiti artists. It looks just like such a bloody mess. No, I think. No matter how good it is, it's still criminal damage, I think. place for it, isn't there? And all over your trains and stuff like that, because you think it looks better than the railroad company's livery. You see, you don't always know better. You just think you do. I'm having a go at people. I think I am. That's the problem with this, isn't it? We always think we know better. Always. It's very easy to criticise, which I've mentioned before. I'm good at it though. You know, criticising. Look at that, that's not good enough. That sky, it's just the wrong shade of blue. Yes, I think you'd be quite tired at the end of this day, wouldn't you? All that jumping up and down. So I'm trying to fathom out which switches I'm gonna have to go for here to get the train to go where it's got to go, down to track 3. And I can't see anything that's saying number 3 obviously here, so you kind of got to guess. Unless there's some way of knowing, you know, like, because it goes 1, 2, 3, the really obvious way. So that's going to that one. I wonder if it is that obvious, you know, that it's 1, 2, 3. It probably actually is, isn't it? It just looks like 1. I can't really see because I keep moving about. It's definitely 2 there, isn't there? I mean, plus another one at least. So there's at least 3. I've done this a lot, haven't I? In and out, in and out, in and out. I don't know what that box does with the red LEDs numbers on it. I wouldn't mind knowing though, because it kept changing. Yeah, you can hear the air going out of the brakes there, can't you? I think it started rolling itself then, so there must be a bit of an incline. I'm assuming there is. Yeah, I think I can see it on that display there. I think it is definitely downhill. Now I've gone right way this time. Is it that simple? 1, 2, 3. 1. Because I'm looking at a really small display here. I think it is that simple. But where would you count 3 from? Yeah. There's obviously a convention about these things that I don't understand. You know, like a standard. Everything's big, innit? Everything's massive. Them train cars are massive, aren't they? Because this train's huge. It's absolutely huge, and it's extremely long, and it's extremely powerful. And I don't think we do not have the equivalent of anything like this in our country. I wonder what the track width is. I wonder if it's same in this country as it is in there. Because the American track always looks a bit narrow, doesn't it? But is it that the track's narrow, or is it the trains are just massive? This is an absolute monster of a train, and I'd like to see it next to one of them British trains. Really dwarf it. I'm still enjoying playing it. It's not that bad, is it? But I did, like I said, I got it on discount. I think I paid £20 or £22 because I got the base version of it with that extra train, which is like this, the CSX whatever, the GP40, GP38. I think the GP38 is the extra one, and it's more powerful. It looks exactly the same apart from the livery is different. See that little box there now? It was changing the numbers. It says 1.6 now. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. I think I pressed something by accident then as well. Yeah, but see all the other stuff with the several packs of DLC that I've had now, some of which I did actually get at a discount at Christmas, quite a good discount. But I did buy that Transpennine pack at full price, and that was £25. So that you're looking maybe, I don't know, $35 for that, possibly $30. I'm not sure, because we usually end up paying a bit. It's not dollar for pound, you see. We end up paying more, you know, it being Britain. And that includes what your version of purchase tax is. We have VAT. I think you'll call it purchase tax. I'm sure that's what it was called, because I was quite shocked when I went there. You know, you actually, the stuff in your shops, it's plus tax, isn't it? Which I found strange. You get to till and it's like, no, it's not that, sir. And there's all my lovely XPs. I think that's the end of the scenario, and thanks so much for watching if you have. Bye bye.